Hi everyone, welcome to this week's Trading from Blank episode. This week going to be taking a look at Solana. Coin I'm not too familiar with in terms of price action right now. I haven't looked at it for a while and I don't exactly have a clear outlook for it. So I always enjoy doing Trading from Blank episodes on a coin that I don't have much outlook for. So let's get into the video. Before we start, I just want to remind you that this video is for informational purposes only and reflects my personal views. It is not financial advice, and please always consult a qualified financial advisor before making investment decisions. Make sure you guys check out the link at the top of the description to join the Discord, posting live trades, daily streams, and much more in the Discord every day. And if you do enjoy the video, make sure you drop a like. Looking at Sol on the monthly, quite a big level here. We could even start on the 3-month. In fact, the 3-month chart for Solana, this 202 area. Sol back in Q3 had the biggest close and the highest close it has had ever. So closing above that 202, that $200 region, which we know historically has been a very difficult place for Sol. Look how many times price has wicked above this area for Solana and failed to close above. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And on the 7th quarter, you know, at least it took 7 quarters to try and break that $200 region. And we finally got a close on Sol above 200, which is quite a nice sign actually. To finally close above 200 on Sol is pretty interesting. I didn't know how the 3-month chart looked, so we can keep that in mind. Like with that in mind, we can look at the price of Sol and say, okay, well, we finally broke that $200 region on the quarterly. We know that price has now broken that area on the quarterly. Does that mean we're now going to extend much higher? So we'll take a look at the monthly and see how we can go from there. The monthly, equally, the 202 area is a big level for Sol. Even more so is this like sort of 240, 23, let's call it 238. Let's just call it 240. Yeah. This 238 area for Sol equally on the monthly, right? We can see how difficult that area has been for Sol time and time again. Yet closing below there, but we have to keep in mind that we did get that close on the quarterly, that the highest close ever for Solana on the quarterly above 200. You got this sort of like textbook cup and handle price action as well on Solana, which I've seen a lot of people talk about, and a lot of people I saw said that this one already played out, right? You know, they're sort of saying that was the cup and handle, that was the flag, and that was the breakout. But equally, you could say that this is the much larger flag. That was, you know, that was the cup, this was the handle, and then maybe we get that breakout, right? If Sol can break that 240 resistance, if the Sol gets a monthly close above 238, I think that can be really positive for it. And we could definitely see price start to trade to new all-time high into the 300s, even into the 400s, if we start to get that really bullish Q4 that everyone's looking for. But right now, Sol remains under resistance, a really tough resistance for it, going all the way back to 2021, where price actually tops out. What we'll also do, we'll mark a support back down here. You could even say that this is just like a much larger range for Sol up here, kind of price bouncing between range low and range high time and time again. You know, with that in mind, is the next stop range low? Right now, it's too hard to say. Personally, I would say that, you know, we could target range low if price failed to hold 200 again, that 202 region. If Sol was to deviate below 202 on the lower time frame, then yes, we could probably be looking at a move back down towards that range low area on the monthly. Now onto the weekly. All the levels here actually have quite nice confluence with each other. We can see that 202 level, the quarterly level that we marked, and the monthly level as well, also is a level of interest on the weekly here. Definitely a level of significance. And equally, we can see that 238, how it's also struggling. Sometimes when you have like higher time frame levels, they don't have confluence on the lower time frame side of things, or at least I wouldn't say the weekly is a lower time frame, but at least the time frame that is lower than the 3-month, the quarterly, right? So we did recently test that support back towards 202, which so far has held. We can see that, right? Or from that bounce, we bounced like 23% on Sol. So it's sort of bracketing between two key levels right now. We got that 238 monthly level and that 202 quarterly level currently consolidating, and can almost guaranteed whichever side gives out first will likely lead to that breakout, right? A good break above 238 on Sol, then we're going to be, like I said, trading towards fresh all-time high and into the 300s. And a break back below 202 on Solana. You've got that deviation above here, and we're probably going to be shooting out for the lows back down towards sub 140 again. So that's something to keep in mind right now. Looking at this chart, like we are in an uptrend, right? Clear uptrend, higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low. But I can't exactly say that this is going to continue from here, not whilst we are trading below 238, which you know, we know has been a significant price for multiple years now, right? So it's not easy to just say that we're going to break through this and it'll be happy days, especially with the way majors are looking at the moment. We're going to need majors to really get a breakout, and Sol can probably start to lead the market again. Talk of the Sol ETF being within the next 2 weeks, so we have to keep an eye on that. You know, depends, was this move pricing in the Sol ETF? And do we start to see good inflows into Sol? Obviously, time will tell, and we have to see when it drops. So keep an eye on the Sol ETF, and we can look for a potential trade depending on the Sol flows, right? If the flows live up to everyone's standards, then yeah, we can look for that break above 240. Okay, going into the daily, I don't massively like this structure on Sol. I think this is a sign of weakness right now, when we've been in quite a strong sort of like trend basically for the past couple of months, and we've broken down, and we're sort of failing to break right in when we get like breakdowns of structure, and we do something like this, and where we form a lower high just like we've done here. It's not a good sign of strength. So what you would much rather see on a breakdown is when price full V shapes and breaks back above the place where it initially broke down. So what we can see right now, this is not a convincing bounce. If Sol did continue, let's say we bottom today and we start to leg back up like 2338, that is a really good sign of continuation, because what we do have, right, is the V shape that I just discussed, and also it's above that key level, right, that 238 level that I've just discussed. In terms of a break above here, that could really lead to a move much higher for Sol. I think if Sol could V shape back above here, we can be looking at targeting sort of like 290 to 300 on it, and potentially a good trade opportunity to take if we do flip 240 on Sol. But right now, this is not something I would long into. You know, we could sort of say it's like a complacency shoulder, and if anything, we could be looking at targeting fresh lows. We'll take a look at my VWAPs, my system shortly to get an outlook on Sol from here. And, you know, something like this, depending on how the ETF plays out and whether the ETF actually comes into play in the next few weeks, that is going to be a important thing, and they're going to have a big impact on price. So, you know, TA basically goes out the window when things like this are in play. From here, though, we are just ranging, right? We're kind of in this range between 238 to 200. So a good long opportunity would be back towards sort of 210 as of right now, 202. I'd keep an eye on a move back down towards like 210 to 202. Again, going to look at VWAPs in a minute just to get a better outlook on this. Or equally, you could be looking at taking a trade above 238. And again, like I said, a move under 202, that would lead to a move much lower. And I would consider that this is probably local topped for the time being. Okay, let's look at the VWAPs to see if we have any complements with that plan. Just to reiterate what I said for my own sake, so I remember as we move on. Moving into 202 to 210 for a fresh long would be a nice opportunity. Otherwise, we can try a move above 238 for that V-shaped reversal. Bearish if price trades below 202, targeting much lower. Let's see what the VWAPs are saying. So right now we're trading around this developing yearly value area high. You can see sort of failed to break back inside that developing yearly value area high, and we're already looking at reclaiming it. So that's quite a good sign. Prior quarterly value area high, we are trading above 218. So that's quite nice. Trading above the prior quarterly value area high. So we had that breakdown early, late last month and bounce up early this month. Trading at the developing monthly value area low. Had some buy signals earlier in the week. Prior weekly value area low back towards 212, and the prior weekly value high back towards 230. So yeah, if we did get a further drop this week into that 210 region, like I mentioned, I think that could be a really nice place to look for some fresh spot on Sol. Right now, I don't massively like these lows. I feel like a sweep under there towards 210 could be a really nice long opportunity. Right now, I don't think you would want to see Sol break back below 218 on the daily, so on the higher time frame. You could see a move back down to like 200 and break below there 170, which so that sort of coincides with what we were just discussing. Also 212, we have that 2.5 to 3 standard deviations for Sol, so I actually really like this area for a long. 212 down to 208 looks like a really good opportunity to pick up some Sol spot or look for a sol long for a reversal if we get that. Failing to hold 200s, then we are going to be looking at a move much lower. So just to reiterate again, whilst we wrap the video up, because I'm pretty happy with this plan, looking for a sweep on sol into 210, 212 to be more specific, and invalidation under 200 with a target of 240 plus. This is option 1. Sweep into here for a long, targeting 230. Option 2, if we do reclaim that 240 and get that V shape that I discussed, then we can look at targeting a fresh all-time high on Solana. Bearish scenario, breaking below 202, we're going to be looking at a move down towards 170 and even as low as 140 in Q4, which would be pretty nasty. But for now, looking for a long and that option 1 to play out. Okay, that's going to do it for this week's Chatting from Blank. Pretty happy with Sol outlook we have found. Make sure you check out the socials in the link below. Leave a like if you enjoyed and click that notification bell. I'm posting here weekly, a couple of videos a week. Might get some educational content posted very soon, depending on how slow the market turns. Been trading a lot in the Wealth Group Discord, so haven't had time to focus much on educational stuff. But I'll see you guys next week for Tuesday Market Review. Bye bye.